Welcome to There is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs, and I've been in business since 1994. The purpose of this podcast is to get to the real deal of what really works, and most importantly, why it works. Today, we have another exciting episode with an interview. We've had Angelica Grubel on the show before, and she talked about one of her accomplishments last time. Well, now she has finally completed one of her huge life goals and bucket lists. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Before I get to that, though, speaking of bucket lists, I have to give some congratulations to Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. I congratulate them because they are absolutely the best in the real estate business. You know how I know that? They're constantly selling houses. Success begets success. So if you need any help, please give them a ring at 386-451-2412. Without any further ado, let me reintroduce to you Miss Angelica Grubel.
Hey Rob, how are you?
I am very well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
You still have some jet lag?
Yes, definitely a little bit. Sleeping is not easy. After 14 hours time difference and 18 hours in an airplane, it takes a little while to get used to it.
So why do you have some jet lag? You flew out to Costa Rica or something like that?
Not quite. I actually flew out to Tokyo, Japan to finish the last of the 6 marathons in the Abbott 6 World Majors series. I did London last year. That was my 5th star, and Tokyo was my very last star, the 6-star medal. So I flew out there last week and ran the marathon.
So did you say Abbott?
Yeah, that's the name of the series. It's World Abbott. They sponsor the series, basically.
So Abbott's the sponsor.
Yeah.
So what are the 6 major marathons that you completed?
So we're very lucky. Oh, sorry.
How many years did it take to complete all 6?
For me, it was 6 years, but I have talked to some people in Tokyo, and there were people there that it took them 20 years to complete.
I didn't even know they did it that long.
It's been around quite a while. But the 6 major marathons are New York, Boston, and Chicago here in the United States. Then Europe has London and Berlin, and Asia has Japan. So for now, those are the 6, but there is more to come.
Did you get a special medal?
Yes. So you always get your regular finisher medal, but when you complete the series, they actually take the 6 medals that you got, and you get a miniature version of that medal made into one big medal. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool thing. So I heard through the grapevine that you had a little bit of a rough start to this. So like you didn't exactly go into this marathon 100% fresh in training. Is that true?
Yeah, that was a little unplanned, accident. A few weeks ago, we were training really well. Everything was going good. And then unfortunately, I decided to do a trail run and broke my ankle just before Christmas. And that was a little bit of a step back there because for a while I was wondering if it will heal in time to actually run a marathon.
Was it a trail run or a trail race?
It was a trail race. And I stepped on a root and twisted my ankle and broke my fibula.
Wow, that doesn't sound good.
No, it was 6 weeks of casts and boots and,
Well, how the hell did you then turn around and do a marathon under 4 hours 2 months later?
Well, the first 2 weeks after I was in a cast, I couldn't do much. There was crutches and cast. There's not much going on. But as soon as I got into the boot, we started biking. We started water running again. And I kept my cardio up as good as possible with those activities until I was released finally after 6 weeks. And then we kind of made the decision to take it easy and just like do a few short runs, 1 or 2 longer runs. I think the longest one was 15, and play a little bit and say, you know what, fitness will take over and you'll finish. So
did it?
It did. Ankle held up actually really good until about mile 21. Then I started feeling it a little bit, but just slowed down, walked a little bit, and still finished under 4 hours.
So was this the slowest of your major marathons, right in the middle?
No, that was actually, second slowest, I believe, because Boston was actually my very, very slowest marathon. It was way over 4 hours. It was 2018. And I don't know if people who runners will remember that marathon as being absolutely horrible weather. And that was probably one where if it wouldn't have been Boston, I don't know if I would have stuck it out.
Was it the one that was really cold or the one that was really hot?
It was cold, rainy, and gusts of wind up to 40 miles an hour. So when they got us off the bus, they wouldn't even allow us to go into a corral. They just said, start line, go, because they were afraid that people would end up with hypothermia.
But you did it.
We did it.
Nice.
Finished it.
So what do you think? Is this like you've had some really nice endurance awards through the years? You've had a lot of accomplishments in the running world. You've won the Grand Prix series in Daytona at least, 2 times, 3 times?
Yeah, 2, 3 times.
So where do you rank this?
This is top. This is just, it's been such a journey. It's been years in the making. It's been qualifying for races just in order to be able to go. This is probably the biggest accomplishment in my running career that I can honestly say this was hard work and perseverance.
So why would you say that you do it? Like, what is your main motivation behind the marathons? They're hard. Not so much the 6 majors, because that's a really cool accomplishment. And if somebody can do that, not everybody can. I mean, you have to qualify for some of those big races. But like, why the marathon? So like, what would you say is your main motivation behind doing all this insanity, this madness?
I think marathon for me it's a huge challenge. It's something I have to train for. A 5K, I can show up. The worst thing is you walk it and you're going to finish it. That's not the case in a marathon. You have to train. You have to have the discipline to get out in the morning, run your runs, the dreaded 20 milers. But all that training for a marathon, when you cross the finish line, makes you feel so accomplished.
But don't you really have to train for a 5K to do well, like do your best as well?
Yes, to do the best and run really fast, yes. But just when we talk about just finishing a 5K, somebody could go jog a mile, walk it, and still be able to finish. In a marathon, you're not going to finish. There is a time cutoff. If you haven't trained and you want to walk the whole thing, you are not going to finish it. And in Tokyo, actually, they had very strict time cutoffs at certain points in the course, and they would sweep people. They would sweep people, meaning taking them off the course. And the last one was at 21 miles. So you only 5 miles away from the finish line. And the big yellow bus comes and, you're getting on. They won't let you finish. So it's a lot of discipline and training, and it's a huge accomplishment. And it's like, I don't know, moving a mountain sometimes.
So what's the main motivation, though? So it sounds like it's hard. It's a challenge. You don't want to do something that, say, everybody can do. Are there any other motivators that... your marathon times are all like you have a couple, 2 or 3 exceptional times, mm-hmm. and all of your times are good. Like they all seem to the wheels never completely fall off the bus. So you do well at marathons. That takes motivation. So what drives you? When you want to quit, because I think anybody that's ever run anything long, or really even a 5K, there's always a point where you want to quit. But in a 5K, if you quit, you can walk it in another 20 minutes and you're done. A marathon, it's a long afternoon. So what drives you? What is your main motivation? For people out there that are listening, we have a lot of runners and triathletes and people that listen to the podcast, and also people that come to the gym because you train some folks here, they're interested in your running. What drives you? What drives the tank? What drives the tank? The German tank. What drives her?
What drives the German tank? It's
because you're German, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
It really is the thought of not giving up. I just, whatever it takes.
Isn't that how you got that name?
Yeah.
The tank?
Yeah. I think, it crosses my mind. It gets hard. It might have to slow down. Of course, all of that crossed my mind in 3.5, 4 hours of running, but it never ever crosses my mind that I will give up. If something happens, I get hurt. Well, that's different.
Like
but
tripping on a stump at a trail race.
Yeah, and breaking your leg.
You still finished.
I still finished the race.
You still hobbled in on a broken leg. That was pretty impressive. I know that because I was there, and we didn't know what happened to her, and we're waiting at the end, and one of our friends said that she had a little accident out on the trail, and next thing I know, she gimps in about, 30 minutes later. But anyway, you proved that being injured. So
giving up is not an option. It's just not, I don't know. It never crosses my mind that I will just stop.
What's giving up to you?
Stopping for no other reason than it's uncomfortable.
Is walking giving up?
No. As long as you keep moving,
Is slowing your pace down giving up?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just if you go, I'm done off the course. I just don't feel like doing it anymore. This is too hard. Everything hurts. My stomach is upset. There's so many things that go on in a marathon, but you just either.
It's like 3 races, isn't it?
For what?
For the marathon. Can you kind of describe that? People talk about it being 3 races. So like you just said, there's so many things that occur. I mean, I've run some myself, and it's like there's that point where you think you can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Then there's that point where you think you won't finish, and then there's that point where it all comes together. So talk about those 3 races within a marathon, because it's never consistent, right?
It's never consistent, but I think everybody has their own little races. So for me, the first 16 miles is like 16 is happy-go-lucky. That's nothing can go wrong. I'm running a good pace. From 16 to 21 16 to 22 is when the crunch is on. That's when it gets, oh my God, I still have 10 miles left. That's when it becomes grit, and you just have to get through it, and you try to hold on to the pace, maybe slow down a little bit. And then once you make it to 22, it's like, okay, this is like 4 miles left. This is a little bit more than a 5K. I've done 1,000,000 5Ks. So sometimes you even pick up the pace for the last 5, just because now you can see the finish, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline, and you can you get really excited about finishing.
It's very psychological,
yes, right? It's I think
so. It sounds like you only have 2 races within the race, because a lot of people have 3, but it sounds like you have everything's great, and then the wheels fall off the bus. Kind of, you hold it together,
and then just smile and finish.
So it sounds like there's more like 2. That's good. I mean, but everybody talks about it never being the same from beginning to end. There's always like different feelings involved.
Oh, I know that when I ran Boston, mile 8, I was ready to say that that's it. And usually that's when, when the race starts, really for me starts. Mile 7, that's when I get comfortable. Boston, mile 8, I was like, wow, this is going to be a long day.
I wanted to quit Disney at mile 3 one year. Mile 3.
That might be
I think it was 2005. I finished, but yeah, I really so not wanted to be there. But that's my own story. So yeah, I know what you're saying there. So, all right, let's segue a little bit into the rest of your running career there. So I think, we go to 5Ks a lot. A lot of us, we go to different running events. A lot of our clients, if they don't run them, they volunteer. So they know, so you are absolutely your typical prototypical, that was easy to say, runner, female runner. You're 5'2", 110 pounds, so of course you're going to run fast, right?
Yeah, I would say I'm exactly the opposite of a normal runner. I think if you would, people see me at the start, and I might line up a little in the front, they probably look at me and goes like, what is that chick doing here? Because
why?
I'm 5'6", I'm usually around 140 pounds, something like that. I'm 53 years old. I don't wear the cute shorts. I'm not a typical runner. It's by no means. I have big legs, big thighs. It's not, if you envision like a cross-country runner, I'm not it. Absolutely not.
So obviously I brought that up as sort of a parody for the listeners that may not know you, because in my opinion, as an exercise physiologist and trainer and a person that knows you, I think that's the most impressive thing, because I know from doing a lot of running events myself that it is a hell of a lot harder. And if people don't realize that, they just need to pick up a couple dumbbells and try to run when a person is bigger. And I would also argue in many ways it is healthier because you're solid. I mean, you're all muscle. It's not like you're 145 pounds of fat or whatever. I mean, you're muscular. You look maybe more like if someone were to guess, they might say a tennis player, not so much in the Serena Williams, but maybe, I mean, more like in that build a little bit, which is very athletic and all. But even though it's muscle, it's still weight you've got to carry, and you carry it faster than 99% of the women at these local races. I mean, talk more about that. That's pretty impressive. I mean, like, can you imagine? You wouldn't be healthy, of course, but like if you were 25 pounds thinner, I mean, would you be running like a 14-minute 5K or something?
I don't know if that's. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Would you be a Kenyan?
I could be a Kenyan.
You could be a Kenyan.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'll be a Kenyan. But I can't explain it. I don't know. I think my running, of course, training, all of it is there, but it's very mental. It really is. It's just because I want. I want to be fast.
I think there's more to it.
I don't know. I'm all slow twitch muscle fiber. That helps.
Well, explain to the people out there that kind of what that means, because that's true. That's absolutely true, and I'm not disagreeing with you that there's a lot of heart involved in that. But like your times are so much faster than somebody that might weigh 25 pounds less. I mean, and the age thing, that's a factor as well, but at the same time, that's more common. You see more and more faster runners in their upper 40s and 50s and even 60s and sometimes 70s. I just saw some incredible 5K time by a 75-year-old woman the other day, but that's world class. But what is it like? What is it about those? So what's the advantage of having a lot of slow twitch muscle fiber? Maybe explain what that is. And what's the disadvantage, if there is one?
Well, it depends on what sport you're doing. So for me, the advantage is that I can go and do endurance events. That's slow twitch. I can go on forever. Now, if you give me, I did some track competition and I have to sprint, not so much because there's very little fast twitch muscle fibers in me.
You didn't do so bad in the senior games.
But definitely not in comparison to endurance. This was just not even, I don't know. I don't think you can compare that. I didn't do bad, but still, I'm not like, even when we work out in the gym or stuff, fast twitch is not my friend. Well,
so what does all that mean? What do you mean by this fast twitch, slow twitch stuff?
Basically, how my muscles work and how they get energy versus somebody that's Usain Bolt, that's a sprinter and only needs energy for a very short period of time.
20 seconds.
20 seconds max. Probably 100 yards. He runs it in like 9 seconds. Mm-hmm. Very explosive, fast energy right there.
9.1.
9.1, sorry. And for me, it's like exactly the opposite. It's just everything. I can go on and on and on. My muscles can, I'm looking for the right words to explain it. I have really zero power or quickness. My muscles don't fire like that. They just slowly go on and do their thing. And so that's the reason why I can go and run a marathon, but I cannot run a 9.1 over 100 yards.
So regardless of what we see with these social media influencers, isn't it true that that's genetics? Your muscle fiber
that's
type.
it. I can't change that. That's, I can't change my muscle fibers.
We used to say in the coaching world with people, if you want to be world class and you're not, go back and pick better parents, right?
Yeah, or a different sport.
Right, because we are genetically geared towards one sport or the other. And if you're more of a fast twitcher, which means, like you described, you have explosiveness, but you don't have a lot of endurance, then you better go to sprinting or football or basketball or potentially baseball. If you're more slow twitch, you're going to get more into the endurance sports, right?
Yeah.
And most people actually are more like 50-50. But I think one of the things that age you is I think you're more like 80% slow twitch, 20% fast twitch, which, for your age and circumstance, you're a pretty elite runner that way. So it helps you, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, is it really a huge disadvantage that you can't squat 400 pounds?
No, I really don't need to squat 400 pounds ever in my life.
Right. So, I mean, you go with what you have, right?
Yes.
All right. So what else? Talk a little bit more, because this is an educational program for the most part, and I want to get people into running and into endurance events. I mean, finally the medical community is starting to jump on board with the importance of a high VO2 max. For those people that don't understand, that's the maximum amount of oxygen your body can produce. It's the gold standard of how fit and healthy your heart is. So they're showing now that, like, whether you're thin or whether you're fat or whether you're obese or whether you're ripped is pretty, like, doesn't matter when it comes to your VO2 max, that you have to train your VO2 max. And so many people don't do cardio for the right reasons, right? They do cardio because they want to lose weight.
Yeah.
And if you read my famous best-selling book, You Can't Outrun a Poor Diet, you realize that that should come through your diet. But we should be doing cardio and intense cardio, not all the time, but maybe at least once a week, really push ourselves hard so we can build that VO2.
I absolutely agree. And again, VO2 max, like you said, very genetic, and I was lucky my VO2 max is relatively high.
But you train it too.
I do train it too, but if I would have a VO2 max of 30, I don't think I could do the marathons I do. So I was
And would you be as healthy?
No. But
So
I
how do
couldn't
we
train it up to 60 from 30.
Correct.
So that's, all these things. I'm very lucky with my slow twitch muscle fibers, a high VO2 max. That's what makes it possible for me to do those endurance events.
Miss Angelica, I think you might be being just a little too modest. Don't you think that you put in on a lot of work as well?
Oh, yes.
Maybe you should take some credit here. Sure, you've got some genetics, but at the same time, like, what I want people to get from you is the fact that, like, you don't have to look like a runner to go run and run well, right?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yes.
So how do we get more people to follow, like, your story and just get out there and really understand that not only is having a high VO2 max cardiovascular system important for performance, but studies have shown it could take years off your life, or add years to your life. Add years, not take them off.
Don't say
them.
that.
Add them.
I think if people would understand that, I don't think people understand cardio. They think they go for a walk, they're doing cardio. They think they go in for a leisurely bike ride, that it's cardio. They don't understand the real reason to do high intensity cardio, what it does to their body. I don't think they know how much cardio, how hard to go, when, how long, and then being uncomfortable when you do that. Accept that it's going to be uncomfortable when you do that hard cardio.
Well, elite runners, though, they're never uncomfortable, right? They just make it look easy because it is, right?
Yeah, right. That's a good joke. It's hard. It's very hard. It hurts. I want to quit. I do quit sometimes. Sometimes we do intervals and I will literally jump off the treadmill and said, I can't go anymore.
But then you get back.
And then you get back on. But you know that, it's going to be hard. And when people like non-runners or people that are not into fitness tell me that they're doing cardio by walking their dog, then very clearly they do not understand the word cardio.
Well, how about when you run into people and they'll say something like, well, I'm not a runner and, I guess if it doesn't come easy, I shouldn't do it. How about that? Because that's a message I hear a lot that is so wrong. I don't think people realize that, sure, somebody might look graceful when they're running, but they're hurting.
Oh, they're hurting. No matter what, and especially in those 5Ks, don't you ever think it doesn't hurt? Like, no matter, it's never easy. It's never easy. Those are the hardest races to run. That's harder than a marathon. Running a fast 5K hurts way more than running a marathon.
When you're at 95% of your capacity. From the get-go.
From the get-go, and you can't let go. You can't. It never lets up. It just gets worse.
It gets worse.
It gets worse every mile. So no, there's no such thing. It's just, you just do it because you are trained to accept that it's going to hurt. Because you have done hard cardio in your training. So you know it's going to be hard for a little while and then it's over.
Do people out there that want to start improving their cardiorespiratory endurance, do they have to make it so complicated?
No, it's really very, very simple. If you go back to the basics, really find something that you enjoy to do cardio. Don't do it just because weight loss and somebody said bike or somebody said run. Peloton. If you hate it, you're not going to stick with it. And consistency is where it's at. It's just because you do something for 2 months and then the Peloton ends up in the corner, then no point in it. No point in spending the money. You have to find really the mode of cardio that you enjoy, that maybe you can do together with friends, and that you can keep up, that you can be consistent in. That's like the biggest thing.
The sports psychologist, I believe, no, he's a journalist, but he covers sports psychology. Michael Easter, who I listen to a lot, he's got some great books. He breaks it down real simple. See if you like this. He says, besides your normal cardio of doing something almost every day at a modest tempo, one day a week, do something that sucks.
Yes.
Instead of saying, I'm going to do these intervals and I'm going to make it really complicated, I'm just going to do something that sucks. So for me, I try to do a 5K every weekend for that reason, because it's hard, right? So maybe if somebody wants to improve their cardio, they can look at it that way. Do something just once a week that gets them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Pushes them, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, just you have to get out of that comfort zone. There's just no other way around it. There's no other way around. You have to get that heart rate up. You have to get your respiratory rate up, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but that's where it's made.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left, so why don't you tell everybody what is up next for the tank? What is the tank gonna do now? I mean, you did this, you got 6 medals, you flew everywhere from Japan to Cambodia to Germany to Switzerland to Africa. You've done more freaking marathons in the last 6 years. What's next?
I think for right now, recovery is a little bit on the table. It's only been a week and a half since the marathon.
So you're just not gonna race?
Getting back into training. And then I'm going to focus a little bit more on the short distance races, like 5Ks and 10Ks.
I jumped and interrupted her there, folks, because she's done a race since she got back. So her saying she's not going to race is silly.
I did not say I didn't race. And actually, I've done 2 races. I'm just... the recovery is important too. When marathon takes out a lot of your body, you cannot forget that, you need to recover from those. Of course, those 5Ks are fun, and but if you look at the times, it's just not there yet. My body is still telling me,
you're not back up to full speed.
No. What are you doing? Why are you...
Science says you should take, you won't be back, for a day for every mile. Yeah. So you figure you did 26.2, you're not really going to be recovered for 26 days or a month.
And you have to keep that in mind and enjoy the journey through that. I mean, that doesn't mean don't do anything.
Okay, so you're going to recover, but what's the next goal?
Next goal will be shorter races around this area, 5Ks, 10Ks, trying to get that push for the time one more time, really trying to get fast again.
It's kind of fun, isn't it?
It is.
So admit it here. Just admit it on this show. I'm going to be the person that gets her to admit this.
What?
On live air. You like beating them little skinny ones, don't you? Come on. Come on.
I like beating them all. I don't care if they're
Come on. They show up and they're in their perfect little running shorts and they weigh 30 pounds less than you and they're looking at you like they're getting ready to grind you and then you beat them. You like it. Admit
of course.
It. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's pretty, we got to have something that drives us, but hey, I would flaunt that too. I've got the opposite story once. One of my first 5Ks I did over in Orlando. I was in my 20s. I was running pretty fast in those days, and I'll never forget getting passed by a girl. There was 200 yards left, not much, and she goes flying by me. I hear these footsteps, and I look over, and in my mind, I'm like, there's no way she should be running faster than me. I thought she was a little overweight or whatever. Well, I thought wrong because she blew my doors off. And it's a valuable lesson that you just can't really judge a book by its cover, right?
That's correct.
You could be super fit at any weight, right?
Yes.
I mean...
100%.
Yeah. So people got to get rid of that stereotype, don't they?
Yes.
All right. So this has been yet another great journey in the journey of Tank, a good interview. We appreciate you coming by. And now we have to thank one of your buddies who you actually trained sometime, Zach Hawk and Papa Jeff, owners of Overhead Door of Daytona Beach. They have the best garage door company in the state of Florida, and we're local to have them here in Daytona Beach. So give them a shout at overheaddordaytona.com.